Have you ever wanted to share your project on GitHub but felt stuck because it's in a private repository? You're not alone. Today, we're going to explore how to make your private repository partially public so you can engage with users while keeping your code safe. I totally get it. You've spent months building something amazing, and now you want to open it up for feedback without exposing everything. It's a common dilemma for developers, and I'm here to help you navigate it. Here's the specific situation we're addressing. One user asked how to make their GitHub repository partially public. They want users to be able to use the Issues feature for discussions, but they don't want to expose their entire codebase. They also want to keep their commit history intact. Sound familiar? Let's dive into the solution. So, what does it mean to make a repository partially public? Essentially, you want to allow discussions without revealing all your code. This can be tricky, but with the right steps, you can achieve it without losing your commit history. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a bonus tip that will help you manage your repository even better. To begin making the private repository partially public, the user should first navigate to the repository settings on GitHub. This is where they can manage the visibility and features of the repository. Next, the user needs to enable the Issues feature. This allows users to ask questions and write requirements. To do this, they should scroll down to the Features section and check the box for issues. Now, to make part of the files public, the user should create a new branch. This branch will contain the files they want to share. They can do this by clicking on the branch drop-down and selecting New Branch. After creating the new branch, the user can move the files they want to share into this branch. They should ensure that the main branch remains private and contains all the sensitive information. Finally, the user should commit the changes and push the new branch to GitHub. This way, the selected files will be accessible to the public while keeping the rest of the repository private. Fun fact, did you know that GitHub was originally created to help developers collaborate on code? Now, it's a platform for sharing ideas and projects with the world. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. This user suggests understanding GitHub's permissions model first. To allow users to submit issues, they need at least read access, which means they can see all code and history. If you want to keep your code private, consider using a separate project page and issue tracking system. If you decide to make some code public, you'll need two repositories. The public repo can host discussions and be set to read-only or read-write. To maintain history, you might need to remove the public code from the private repo and organize it under a single directory. For current versions, simply move files to the new repo. If you want to publish history, use commands like git filter branch to create the public repo from a clone of the original. You can choose methods like subdirectory filter or index filter based on your needs. Remember, if you split the history, keep the original repo's history for the public files, as linking histories can be complex. And that's all for that response. Let's see what someone else had to say. One alternative approach is to create two repositories. You can use a tool called Git Exporter to automate the process of making a part of your private repository public. First, set up a config.json file to specify which files to include and which to ignore. Then, run the command npx git exporter config.json to create a new repository with the selected files while keeping the commit history. Finally, push the new repository to GitHub, and you can even set up a CI script to update it automatically. That's it for that response. Let's explore another one. This user suggests that to make a private repository partially public, you will need to create two separate repositories. They explain that you cannot simply make part of the files public. Instead, you can package the files you want to share as an archive and provide them in the Downloads section. If you want to maintain the repository structure, you should split your repository into two using commands like git filter tree and subtree filter. Here's that bonus tip I promised. Regularly review your public repository to ensure that you're only sharing what you want to share. This will help you maintain control over your project. And there you have it. You can now engage with users while keeping your code safe. If you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button for more tips. And don't forget to check out our other videos for more GitHub tricks.